So start lying down. Bella, no, you're not on my mat. Thank you very much. So have a little bit of support under the head, and then have some other folded blankets or cushions handy in case we need them. Support. Start with knees bent, feet on the floor, about hip width apart, and just arms wherever they're comfortable. Take a moment to arrive, to let the weight of the body transfer into the ground. And then just start a very gentle rocking of the pelvis and the knees from side to side. Doesn't have to be huge movement, just a kind of saying hello to our lower backs. Being aware of the connection with the ground. At some point, let the legs go over to one side and rest there. Belly, you can go. And at this point is where you might want to pop some extra support underneath the knees or between the knees. Few breaths. Gently over to the other side. Rest there. And then roll the knees back into the centre. Let's give them a little hug with the legs together. Let's draw a circle with the knees. Nice and slowly, little massage for the lower back. And the other way. And then let's do a separate circle with each knee. Round the other way. One the in, stretch the other leg out, pushing away through the heel, and then swap over. Go side to side a few times. Next time we hug one of the knees in, let's hook the hand, opposite hand behind the knee, other arm out on the floor, and then come across into a twist, leaving the shoulder and the arm resting back into the floor. Roll back into the centre, swap it over, other knee in for a hug, opposite hand underneath the knee, other arm out on the floor, and then across into our twist, keeping the thigh drawn in towards the upper body. Into the centre, both knees a little hug and a rock of the whole back from side to side. And then come to stillness, still with the knees tucked in, and either press the back of the head into the ground, or gently lift the head off the floor, lengthening the back of the neck, shoulders relaxing back, face soft. And, down, let's stretch the arms above the head, stretch the feet down away, long body, spread the fingers, spread the toes. And then let's bring feet back to the floor, hip width apart. Take the left leg up into the air, give the whole leg a little swivel at the hip joint, and then cross the ankle onto the opposite knee. And then edge that top knee away, keeping the pelvis still, and a little rock of the pelvis again from side to side. Okay, and then we're going to let the legs come over to the right. I should have said, have your cushions or blocks or support ready to receive the foot. If you need to just go and fetch your bits and bobs before you do that, then do. So we're coming across into a supported hip opener. That left knee keeps floating up towards the sky. Pelvis is heavy, dropping back. And you can adjust the height underneath the foot, the amount of support, so that you feel just the right amount. So there's a bit of challenge, but it's not painful. And then take long, soft breaths in, imagining the spaciousness of the breath coming all the way down into that left hip. Letting go as we breathe out, letting the pelvis feel heavy. And then gently bring the legs back into the centre. Let's keep the legs crossed, but slide them closer together, knee crossing the knee. A little rock of the pelvis from side to side, quite slowly, so you can feel different parts of your lower back and pelvis getting attention, different parts of the movement. And then the next time the legs come over to the right, we're going to rest them there. Again, pop your support underneath so that it's not painful. And a few breaths there. And then gently back to the centre. Let's take that left leg up into the air. Little point and flex at the ankle. and then a little circle. And then round the other way. And then another little flex at the ankle. Let's lower the leg down to the ground and bring it up again a few times. Little lower and raise of that left leg. And the knee, let's bring that to the floor. Take the right leg up into the air and give the whole leg a little swivel. And then cross the right ankle onto the left knee. Open up the hip, edging the knee away from you without shifting the pelvis. And then keep those muscles switched on, but open the hip as we rock the pelvis from side to side. Let the legs go over to the left again. Pop your support underneath the foot, whatever height of support you need, so that you're not in pain, but you're still getting a little sense of challenge in the hip. And then use the breath, space coming down into the right side of the hip, thigh, pelvis as you breathe in, letting go of the heavy weight of the pelvis as you breathe out. And then gently back into the centre. And let's give the support. We're going to keep the legs crossed, but bring them closer together, knee crossing knee. And then nice slow side to side movement. Again, really paying attention to the different parts of your lower back, pelvis area that's coming into contact with the ground through the range of the movement. Get your support again, and the next time the legs go over to the left, you're going to rest them there with support underneath the knees so that you're not in pain. And then letting go. Okay, and then roll the legs back to the centre. Let's take that right leg up into the air, and we'll do a little point and flex of the ankle. And then a circling foot up the ankle joint. Round the other way. And then keep the foot flexed as we lower and raise that right leg a few times. Draw both knees in. Let's have another little rock across the back from side to side. And then we're going to roll all the way over, come over onto hands and knees. Toes under. And then release the toes, tuck the tailbone under, drop the head round in the back. Breath or two here. And then leading with the tailbone, arching the back. Heart coming forward, tailbone pointed in the air. And then leading with the tailbone again, rounding the back, letting the head drop. Just a few of these movements in your own time. Come back to neutral spine. Let's bring the knees together and just walk the knees back a little bit. So you're in a kind of almost a half plank. And just bring the weight forward. So drop the hips and then take the weight back. Kind of shifting the weight through the shoulder joints. And your heart come forwards and then coming back. Okay, and then walk the knees back in, take them back to hip width apart, so we're in our sort of neutral stance, and we'll take a breath in, round in the back, tucking the tailbone under. Let's tuck the toes under as well. And as we breathe out, let's pull back with the heels and come up into downward dog. And then we'll stay here for a breath in, and a breath out. And then breathing in, drop to the knees, release the toes, breathing out, bottom to the heels, elbows and forehead come down. And we'll stay here for a breath in and a breath out. Another breath in, rounding the back up onto the knees. Breathing out, heart comes forward. Breathing in, round the back, tuck the tailbone, tuck the toes. Breathing out, up into downward dog. Stay here for a few breaths. Then drop to the knees. Let's step the right foot to the front of the mat, outside the two hands, and then choose your distance between your front foot and your back knee so that you can drop the weight of the pelvis forward and down and get a bit of stretch in the front of that left hip and thigh. Heart can stay lifting up on our fingertips, maybe stretching to the thigh, the hip. Okay, then tuck the back toes under, walk the hands to the left away from the front foot, turn the feet to face the long side of the mat. We come into our wide leg forward bend, knees a little soft, hands on the ground, and a tilt of the pelvis, turning the tailbone back and up. Then walk the hands to the left. So we're going to face the other end of the mat, dropping down onto the right knee, releasing the toes, dropping the pelvis forwards and down, letting the heart lift. Stretching out the other hip and thigh. Your back toes under again, walking the hands round to the right, back into your wide leg forward bend. Tailbone lifting, sit bones turning back. And we're going to stay up relatively high. We're not sort of folding all the way down. We're going to bend the right knee, take the weight over into the right foot. Then come back to the centre, bend the left knee, and take the weight over into the left foot. Just side to side. So you can keep the weight sort of back into the heels more than in the front of the foot, so your knees are not getting pressured. Quite a strong stretch through the insides of each leg and turn. to the center, and then heel toe the feet back in to not close together, sort of more than hip width apart, toes turning out. And we're going to drop down into a bit of a squat, keeping the heels down, and then we're going to come back up. Down and up. Weight stays in the heels. You don't have to fully straighten the legs. Pressing into the feet to come up. And back down. Next time, come down, just let ourselves find our way down to the ground. Let's have the legs out in front, lean back on the hands a little bit and give the legs a little shake. Okay. And then we do a few things seated. Let's think how we're going to sit. I think we'll sit with the legs wide-ish and support under the knees. Just going to grab our bolsters. Yes. So the legs not at their widest place, but just sort of comfortably wide apart with a bit of support under the knees, so that when you pull the flesh out from underneath you, you can feel your sit bones and you can sit upright on your sit bones. So a little moment to find your equilibrium in this position. And then let's take the arms out wide. Breath in, and a breath out, lengthening out the arms. And let's turn the palms down. Let's take the arms up above the head, backs of the hands meet, and then circle them down. And like giant wings, walking up and down a few times. Staying strongly rooted into the ground through your sit bones. Staying tall through your spine, crown of the head, easing up. And let's bring the hands down the centre. Let's just let the fingertips touch gently together, and then a little rock backwards and forwards on our sit bones. So we're not rounding or arching the back. We're finding the sense of the rocker shape of our sit bones, and we're shifting the weight to the front and back again. Keeping the upper body long through the front. Next time, rock forwards. You can let the hands come down wherever they come to. And keep the feet a little bit active, toes pointing up. Take your awareness into your sit bones and let the weight gather towards the front of the sit bones, which might encourage your body to release them to slightly deeper fold through the hips. But don't push it, nothing urgent here. Just let the body release into the fold as and when it feels ready. One's out in front, interlake the fingers, and we're going to start to draw us a little circle by shifting the weight around the sit bones. So upper body kind of as a single unit starts to circle around the pelvis, circle around the sit bones, like you're stirring some porridge, but you're making a stirring movement from the hips rather than the elbows or shoulders. Around the other way. Next time your wooden spoon, imaginary wooden spoon comes over towards your left leg, let the hands drop down, either inside or on that left leg. Awareness now in the front of the left side of your pelvis, front of the left sit bone, and see if that encourages a slight fold over in that direction again. We're just going very gently on this. We're not fixing anything. We're not pushing anything. Just releasing with gravity, with the breath. From there, we can walk our hands over towards the other side. Go quite slowly. See how far over you can comfortably go. Don't feel it's got to necessarily be equal on each side. Breathing, bring some space, some opportunity to shift slightly with each breath. Into the front of the right sit bone now. And then walk the hands back to the centre. And a few breaths there, right in the front of both sit bones. Bring yourself up to sitting. Let's bring the legs in together. I'm just going to move out of the way. Sideways on the mat. We're going to take hands behind, feet under the knees, and press into the hands of the feet to come up. Chin can stay lifted or head can dangle back. And then lower back down, hug the shins in. Toes either touching the floor or just gently off the floor. Shoulders relaxed, jaw, face, eyes relaxed. Even maybe close the eyes if that feels okay. Float here. So, okay, you can take the hands behind the legs and lift the feet up into the air, drawing the toes down towards the shins, and maybe walk the hands up the back of the legs. And keep them, or stay in one of the earlier positions, whichever works for you. Shoulders dropping back, face still soft. Down, and we're going to get our blanket or towel and give ourselves a little bit of support for a back bend. One bit of forward bending, so let's start with back bending. So we'll do the one where we use the blanket folded in this sort of shape. The lowest tips of the shoulder blades on the blanket, Head and the tops of the shoulders on the mat on the other side of the blanket, arms and legs wherever they are comfortable. Spend a moment to get your positioning just right for you. If you want to close or half close the eyes, then do. And then let's draw our attention inwards to the breath. If you've had enough of being in the back bend, just have a little think what, if you want to, you can use your arms, you can use your legs, you can use your feet, whatever you feel is comfortable. Just have a little think what, if you want to, you can use your arms, you can use your legs, you can use your feet, whatever you feel is comfortable. Final resting position you feel drawn towards. And then we've got a sense of what that might be. Just roll yourself off your blanket and organise your props, whatever you've got, whatever you're using to get yourself into your chosen rest position. Okay, so now prepare to begin to move again, just enough to Bring yourself out of a resting position. Minimum effort as possible. Little movements that help you ease yourself back into a little bit more of an alert state. You bring yourself up to sitting. Bring yourself to sitting and have a check in with ourselves. Roll the shoulders around the other way. Stretch out of the arms, bringing them up over the head. And finishing down to our yoga and to each other for sharing it.